Hey, welcome. My name is Fede, and today I'm going to show you this script strategies cheat sheet that we built in the foundation to explain people how to getting started with the scripts, which are the most common methods that you can use. And well, let's start. The first step is to install an Anaconda, then clone the repository, cd Hummingbot. With this you will get into the Hummingbot folder, and run the bash script that is installed. With that script, a content environment will be created with all the dependencies that you will need inside of it. So after this, you have to activate the content environment and then compile the code, because the most of the core components of Hummingbot are written in Python, so you need to compile them. So, well, after that, once you made all these steps, you can start coding your scripts under the folder scripts that is in the root of the repo. Well, now let's review some scripts basics. When you are defining scripts, it has to be a subclass of a script strategy base. And if you want to use variables inside of it, inside of the logic of the script, you have to define them as class variables because they don't have any configuration file. Normally, you want to also define some markets to trade on. So the way of doing this is define the class variable markets. That is a dictionary where the key is the connector name that you want to use, for example, Binance, and the value is a set of trading pairs that you want to use in that connector, for example, ETH USDT. Then another thing that you have to know is that there is a method that you have to define. There is the onTick method that will be executed every tick size. By default, the tick size is 1 second. So that means that the logic that you code inside the method onTick will be executed every second. Well, in this section, market operations, you can find the methods to create and cancel orders. They are very easy to use because you just have to pass the connector name, the trading pair, the amount, order type, price, and position action, and it will simply buy to the market that you assign. The position action is only used in perpetuals, so if you are trading in spot, you don't have to define it. Now let's review the methods that we have to retrieve information about the account. First of all, to retrieve balance, there is a method that is getBalanceDF, and that will return a data frame with the columns that are exchange, asset, total balance, and available balance. The difference between the total and available is if you have some orders placed, that money will not be available. So, and to retrieve the open orders, you have the method self.activeOrdersDF, and that will return a data frame with also the exchange, the market, the side, price, and amount, and age. The age is how much time the order is in the market. So obviously you have another methods to retrieve a list of limit orders or different ways to retrieve this information, but in this case I'm trying to explain the simplest method that retrieves a data frame, and then with the data frame you can do whatever you want. Well, now we can check these event sections that shows you all the methods that you can use to handle the different markets events in the strategy. They are defined inside strategy base. There is a Python file, but you can use them inside the scripts. And once you define this method, then you can use the event inside your logic with the properties corresponding to each event. Well, now let's review other components that could be useful in the development of your script. First, we have the rate oracle. With this component, you can have different conversion rates from different sources. And you have two methods. The sync method will retrieve a dictionary that is inside this component, so you don't have to code any async function inside your script. And the async method will retrieve, it will make a request to the provider, and you have to code an async function in order to do that. Then we have the notifiers. With the notifiers, you can send notifications to the application, And the methods are very easy: notify, HB up, or with timestamp. And the last thing about others is that when you run in the client status or status dash dash live, it will retrieve you some information that you can see in the panel. So if you want to implement a custom format status, you have to implement the method format status. If you want to see an example, you can easily go to the scripts strategy base, where you define the format status. By default, it has the balances and the open orders. At this point, you can place orders, get the balance, check which are your active orders, handle different events, and other things like the rate oracle, notify, and status. But if you want to do some more complex things, probably you want to use the connectors. So to access the connectors that we define in the markets class variable at the beginning, you have to use the instance variable connectors, which has the following structure. That is a dictionary with the connector name, and the value is the connector base. So in order, for example, to access the Binance connector that you defined in markets before, you just have to write self.connectors Binance, and that will return the Binance exchange class. With that class, you can execute the following methods that are very useful in order to do some complex things, like having some metrics about the order book that we are going to see now. So, well, first we have the method getPrice, and the difference between, you have to pass only the trading pair, but then there is a parameter that is isBuy, true or false. If you write true, it will retrieve the best ask, and if you put false, it will retrieve the best bid. Also, you have the method getMidPrice, and another cool thing is that you can retrieve the order book. So writing the method get order book with the trading pair, it will return a composite order book. This composite order book has two methods that you are probably going to use, that is ask entries and bid entries, and this will retrieve an iterator of order book row. So here you can loop over these rows, or simply you can write pd.dataframe and inside of the parentheses put the result or this iterator, and it will create a data frame with the iterator. So, well, this here is an example of how to get any price. And now we're going to pass to the section that is querying the order book. For me, if you are planning to calculate some metric on the order book, you should use these methods because they are written in Python and they have all the loops created for you. So you have these get VWAP for volume, get price for volume, get quote volume for base amount. Well, all these methods are useful. For example, if you want to say, hey, I want to see how much volume in the order book is below this price. So you put the price and it will retrieve a volume directly. So the result of that is a client order book query result. So that object has the following parameters that are query price, query volume, and then the result price and the result volume. Well, the last thing is the accounting. When you're coding a strategy, probably you want to check if you can send an order to the market or not based on your balance. So in order to do that, there is an object called order candidate that has all these methods to populate the order that you want to place with the collateral. All the methods are coded inside the order candidate, but you are not going to use those methods by yourself because there is another component called budget checker that will do this for you. So first of all, you define the order candidate. You have to pass the trading pair, if it's maker, the order type, the order size, the amount, and the price. And then you have to use the budget checker that is inside the connector. So you have to access the connector, like self.connectors, Binance, for example. Then use the budget checker, and there is a method called adjust candidate. With this method, you can pass one order candidate, and there is one parameter that is all or none. If you pass all or none, true. If you don't have the sufficient balance to place the order, it will retrieve an amount of 0. But for example, if you want to place an order of 100 ETH and you only have 70 ETH, and you pass the argument all or none equals to false, it will reduce the order amount to 70 instead of putting the order to 0. So well, that's all about this cheat sheet. Let me know if you have any questions about it. You can check the examples that are in the code base, that most of these things are implemented inside those examples. Well, thank you very much and hope that you enjoy this cheat sheet.